It's 10 p.m. in Banjul. This is the News Force, the headlines. President Jammeh Babili Mansa announced his plans to ensure free education in all levels of academia by 2018 and laid plans to build a state-of-the-art 777-bed hospital in the Bundunkakunda community. In the spirit of love and caring, First Lady Madam Zainab Yahya Jammeh make a modest appearance at a school to support physically challenged students as part of events marking World Disability Day. Sabre rattling in action, Russian President Vladimir Putin vows to make Turkey regret for the recent downing of a Russian jet over Syria-Turkey airspace. And from the frying pan to the fire, a court in South Africa overturns Oscar Pistorius' verdict and upgrades the severity of the original punishment. These and other stories coming ahead in this half hour. I am Momodin Jai. President Jammeh Babili Mansa has announced plans to ensure free education in all levels of academia by 2018. The Gambian leader made these remarks during a meeting at Bundunkakunda community in the Kanifing municipality. The president, who was accorded a rousing welcome by tens of thousands of APRC supporters, also laid out plans to build a state-of-the-art 777-bed hospital in the community before 2018. H.N. Silva was on the tour with the president's entourage, and he now reports.
Another rousing welcome by enthusiastic APRC militants who emanated from various parts of the Kanifing municipality to witness President Jammeh Babili Mansa's remarkable meeting with the inhabitants of Bundunkakunda in Serakunda Central. The Kanifing municipality is home to an overwhelming number of APRC supporters. However, the significance of party discipline within the ranks and files of the party could not be more fitting to discuss at the rally. As liaison officer Nene Magdol Gay, who also holds the portfolio of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, hammered home the need for behavioral change in the party. The APRC party, she further went on, is not a personal property, but a national treasure which has opened its door to people of all walks of life. The meeting also came a day after the president pardoned dozens of Katong youths who were reportedly involved in a run-in sometime last month. And embedded with the high-powered delegation that just returned from the coastal settlement for talks was the Information Minister Sirif Bojang. He reported how remorseful the inhabitants of this community are for their actions. The Information Minister, who did not doubt the President's victory in the 2016 elections, urged Gambians, particularly youth folk, to rally behind the President. Ward Councillors Aji Ami Jata of Serakunda Central and Ibrahim Atamba of Bundung Bohol both pleaded with the President to rehabilitate the roads connecting communities within the constituency to ensure smooth movements of goods and services. The duo also requested the President's intervention to address water shortage in the area to ease the plight of women. The Lord Mayor of the Kanifing municipality, Yankuba Koli, who also doubles as the national APRC mobilizer, hailed his people for the huge turnouts. The meeting entered its final conclusion with President Jammeh's marathon statement to the people of Serakunda Central and the Kanifing municipality at large. The President once more defied all the odds with the news to roll out free education across all levels of academia in 3 years' time.
By the grace of the Almighty Allah, by 2018, we will have free universal education for all Gambians. From kindergarten to university in this country. And even if you are going outside for university education, the government would pay for it.
The Gambian leader, who looked overwhelmed with the warm reception they accorded him, also disclosed plans to provide additional potable water supply as well as modern roads in KMC. The roads he went on will include the Bundung KMC Annex Road, Sukuta Latrikunda Sabiji, and the Talinding Farokono access roads. Professor Jammeh further laid out plans to build a 777-bed hospital in the Kanifing municipality by 2018. The gigantic health facility he went on will be housed in Bundung to meet the growing demand of quality health care delivery to the people of the area. The president is expected to conclude his tour of KMC with a crowd pooling meeting tonight in Bakau. Etienne Silva, GRTS News.
First Lady Madam Jammeh has made a modest appearance at a physically challenged school for persons with disabilities to celebrate the day with them in the spirit of love and caring. As Uminjai reports, this year's theme is Inclusion Matters, Access and Empowerment of People of All Abilities.
National Day for Persons with Disabilities 2015, a day that is set aside to reflect on the challenges faced by persons with disabilities in society and to look at the way forward. First Lady Madam Jammeh, by way of showing love and care to the differently abled children, had an interaction session with them, where most of them took time to give messages, mostly centered on the theme for 2015, Inclusion Matters, Access and Empowerment of People of All Abilities. First to tell a message was First Lady Madam Jammeh.
This year's International Day of Persons with Disabilities reminds us that development can only be sustainable when it is equitable and inclusive.
Children from the different schools with learning difficulties followed with messages of urging the public to include them on all state matters.
We, the person with disability, must have easy access to roads, highways, office, schools, and hospitals.
We say no to exclusion, yes to inclusion.
Society is better with us in it.
I may be disabled, but I am important and my soul is beautiful.
No child, able or disability, is born to grow up alone.
The great mathematician, scientist, Professor Hookin sits on a wheelchair.
On this International Day, I call on all of us to break barriers and open doors of opportunities of all persons with disabilities.
Present at the interaction session were the Director of Social Welfare, the National Director of SOS, and the Executive Director, Operation Save the Children Foundation, who took turns to thank First Lady Madam Jammeh for spending time with these differently able kids on a day that is dedicated to them.
We're grateful that you've made the time to come as a mom to them. You could see all the smiles on their face when you arrive and when you're having the photos with them as well. And I know they're very grateful that you are with them. They have stories to take home.
The children are your children, and it is very clear. Everybody sees that, everybody knows that. May Allah leave you a long, long, long time close to them. And what you have in your heart for them, may Allah make it happen, because we know that it's only good.
Gatherings like this has the potential of making these differently able kids feel inspired as they aim to fulfill their future ambitions. Uminjai, GRTS.
Well, in a bid to get to the bottom of the story regarding some of the interventions and designs sketched by the physically challenged, our Uminjai takes a closer look at how some creative and enterprising physically challenged individuals are.
Many times, disabled persons are frequently seen on the streets begging from people to survive. That is now becoming a tale of the past in the Gambia. Disabled persons are now seen in almost all facets of development, some in offices and others self-employed. Despite being challenged in different ways, these differently abled persons have never relented in contributing their quota to national development. A case in point is the only workshop that produces false limbs for amputees throughout the country, situated in the Social Welfare Office in the country's capital city, managed by disabled persons. The issue of amputation has over the years become rampant in the country, some caused by traffic-related accidents, some born with it, and others as a result of illness that results in cutting off some body part. This often increases the demand for use of different working aid to ease their movement. When the state broadcaster visited the workshop, we were informed that all products from this workshop is given free of charge. This, Gabu Jaju said, is becoming a challenge since the demand from people is more than what they have in stock. The production of one limb costs close to $7,000, and the limbs are renovated at least twice a year, which costs $2,000 each.
The problem here is the demand is more than what we have, and again, we don't have them directly. We depend on the gift that people give us to be able to take care of some of these things.
And you usually give it out free of charge?
Oh yeah, we should be able to give it out free of charge.
Okay.
And now the problem here is that's why we will be soliciting help. When we exhaust what government has given us, then we are not able to give it free of charge.
Judge, however, pleaded for help for the proper upkeep of the vital workshop, but quickly pointed the need for additional manpower.
We need to highlight the fact that the constraint is not only material, but also human resource. Like in the whole of Gambia, we can only say there are 2 technicians. Actually, 1 technician is the least. And we would really solicit help because like the whole of the country cannot depend on 1 person. And then we also have only 1 center in Gambia, which is not good. So if anybody has a problem from Basse or Sujugoba and all those places have to come, even the fares alone will prevent him from coming to Banjul. And so that compounds that disability. Because once you have a leg, you are able to do a lot of things. But if you don't have, then it becomes a big problem.
Mamadou Savage is also an employee of the workshop, and he explained to us the different walking aids they have, ranging from strollers for children with walking difficulties, crutches, auxiliary crutches, and walking frames. Savage said being differently able does not mean one has to be limited in scope. This workshop, he added, is thus creating employment.
Push wala wheelchair ni ko xamé taxul la mel leneen waaw mo ko mu nga nek ci push ngay liggéey di doxal say mbir di amé sa famille ava créer employment ko ñu ñëté ñu ñëpp ñu tok ci wheelchair waaye ku nekk responsible man ku nekk am nga sa famille ku nekk yaa ngay take care sa famille waaye li lu ko waral mooy liggéey for the past 25 years ñu ci te loolu nag responsabilité la doo jékki-jékki nag jël tey dama toog si puus dama war a dem toog wala dama war a nekk di yalwaan déedéet gëmuñu loolu mënta ne defe ne loolu moom loolu lu ko def tam fi ñu gënalul leen dañ amul beneen option rek waaye xam naa loo xam ne daf ñu gënal.
One thing is certain, these differently able persons form part and parcel of society. They should be respected and given all the necessary support they need. Today is them, tomorrow maybe you or me. The fact that nobody knows what the future holds for you. Uminjai, GRTS.
The International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, Independent Office of Evaluation in partnership with the Ministry of Finance, held an evaluation of IFAD's programs in the Gambia from 2004 to 2014. As Rohibite reports, the event was officially opened by the Vice President and Minister of Women's Affairs, Her Excellency Aja Dr. Aissatou Sedi.
Gathered for the evaluation of IFAD programs in the country from 2004 to 2014. It's a national evaluation. The evaluation process, which was conducted by the International Fund for Agricultural Development's Independence Evaluation Office, was revealed to participants at this national forum. It is aimed at assessing the 5 IFAD finance projects carried out in the country over the 10-year period. Since 1982, IFAD is reported to have financed 10 projects and programs in the country for a total cost of $196 million, in which IFAD contributed $73.1 million, with a focus on supporting government to strengthen and empower farmers as well as eradicating poverty in the rural areas.
You will agree with me that the support of IFAD to the Gambia is not only relevant but indispensable. This support is critical for the achievement of objectives of the page, Vision 2016 and Vision 2020.
We are now committed to clearly demonstrate and provide evidence of how many of the over 700,000 rural people in the Gambia have been reached and, where possible, moved out of poverty through the IFAD finance interventions. This is our overarching poverty, and likewise for the government. But therefore, for IFAD, this specifically means that we want to see that the interventions in the country are moving poor farmers, and in particular women and youth, out of poverty.
The evaluation report, according to officials, highlighted the increase in yields, but the lack of structured value chain approach prevented beneficiaries from enjoying the full profit of their improved production. These and others are among the findings of the IFAD Independent Office of Evaluation, and for the evaluation to be processed, it needs to be weighed by national stakeholders in the country.
The purpose of the Gambia Country Program Evaluation we will be discussing today is to provide building blocks that can assist the government, IFAD and other concerned partners in developing the next country strategy and projects financed by IFAD in the Gambia. The objective of the workshop is to have an opportunity to discuss the findings, conclusions and recommendations of the evaluation and reflect on their implications.
The Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs, Abdul Koli, applauded the continued collaboration the government has with IFAD. Minister Koli also urged stakeholders to assess the report critically so as to put in place programs and strategies for the benefit of all.
I think we should all take time to read through this report and assess it critically with a view to determining what went well for possible replication and scale-up, what did not work well, with possibility of taking corrective actions, so that tomorrow we are able to put in place programs and strategies that will generate maximum impact for the people of this country.
The Vice President and Minister of Women Affairs, in her opening remarks, outlined the significance the government of His Excellency the President gives to agriculture, highlighting blueprints like Vision 2016, Vision 2020, and others as government commitment in the agricultural sector. According to her, the outcome of IFAD's evaluation will contribute meaningfully to the development objectives of government. She, however, tasked the stakeholders to take the challenges and turn them to opportunities.
Therefore, I urge you all to take the workshop seriously and interact among yourselves as much as possible in order to achieve the objectives of the country program evaluation. Finally, I wish to register on behalf of the Gambia government sincere gratitude to IFAD for its consistent support to the country's development efforts, as has already been highlighted by the Honourable Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs. And therefore, on this note, I wish to declare IFAD Country Program Evaluation Workshop 2015 officially open, and thank you all for your attention and wish you successful deliberations.
This is the first step towards this evaluation report conducted by the Independent Evaluation Office of IFAD, even though it is expected to go through a series of processes before it will be released in 2016. The input of national stakeholders, who were the foot soldiers of the programs and projects on review, is deemed vital, and that is what they seek to gain before the end of this national workshop. Rohibite, GRTS.
It is a decision that is likely to shock supporters and admirers of the South African Paralympian. Find out after the break why Russian president says Turkey will regret downing a Russian jet. Welcome back. The Russian president has repeatedly made claims that Turkey will regret downing a Russian jet. Vladimir Putin made these remarks during his annual State of the Nation's address, attended by hundreds of government supporters and ruling party members. We have more in this DWTV report.
It's a fight for freedom, truth and fairness, for people's lives and the future of civilization. Without naming any countries, the Russian leader accused those who pushed for regime change in Iraq, Syria and Afghanistan of destabilizing the region and opening the way to terrorism. He called for a united international front against extremism and an end to what he called double standards and the backing of extremist groups. We need to let go of our disagreements and establish a single united front, a powerful fist that will act in accordance with international law and under the auspices of the United Nations. But the bulk of his criticism was reserved for Turkey. Putin said Ankara would regret having downed a Russian warplane last week. We will remind them what they did more than once, and they will regret what they did more than once. And we know what needs to be done.
надо делать. Пускать основные...
He accused Turkey of aiding terrorists and said there were people in the country profiting by buying oil from armed groups in Syria. That's an accusation Turkey has strongly denied.
News about Oscar Pistorius' recent parole was greeted with joy by family members and admirers of the famed Paralympian. However, there is a disturbing report that the South African could return to jail to serve several years after the Supreme Court overturned an original verdict of punishment. We have more in this DWTV report again.
Oscar Pistorius was not present when his verdict was read, but the victim's family was.
The accused's conviction and sentence on count 1 are set aside and replaced with the following. Guilty of murder, with the accused having had criminal intent in the form of dolus eventualis. 3, the matter is referred back to the trial court to consider an appropriate sentence afresh in the light of the comments in this judgment.
Dolus eventualis, in other words, intention to kill. The athlete shot his girlfriend Reva Steenkamp in his home on Valentine's Day 2013. She was in the small bathroom when he fired through the door. Pistorius said he thought she was an intruder. He claimed self-defense. But the judge now concluded that Pistorius knew that by firing the weapon, he would kill his girlfriend. The verdict is a victory for Reva Steenkamp's family, who expressed relief after the ruling. Pistorius is currently under house arrest on his uncle's property in Pretoria. He had been released from prison on parole 1 year into a 5-year sentence from the first trial. Now the Paralympian faces at least 15 years behind bars.
We take our second break now. Sports is next. Welcome back. The country's sports reporters on Tuesday celebrated the International Sports Journalist Day. Mamoudou S. Diallo reports on the commemoration spearheaded by the Sports Journalists Association of the Gambia.
Journalists Association of the Gambia Tuesday converged at a local hotel to celebrate the International Sports Journalist Day. The day was meant to be celebrated on July 2nd, but with the country's sports reporters unable to join their colleagues around the world in commemorating the event at the time, the body overseeing the activities of sports journalists in the country organized this cocktail reception to mark the day. The celebration, which was more of a family gathering, provided a rare moment for the sports writers and broadcasters to interact, share their experiences, and discuss among themselves the challenges and key issues relevant to their work. As crucial partners in the promotion and development of sports globally, commitment to deliver services with impartiality was the core of discussions among members during celebrations.
Whatever it is that our obstacles along the way might be, it's good that when the day happened to come around and being recognized alongside our colleagues around the world, for us to be here to also celebrate what it is we are all about. A lot has been happening in the world of sports journalism. A lot has been happening in our own world locally, but it has never been a distraction that has, been stopped us from going on trying to do the job 24 hours, 7 days a week, because sports never stops, sports never sleeps. And even if it sleeps in your corner, it is happening in someone else's corner. And we wake up to continue from where we stopped. And that being the case, if people don't recognize some of the things that we do, the onus is upon us to humbly recognize and respect what it is that we are all about in the execution and the promotion of sports in our own small corners of the world where we are in the Gambia.
The event also availed the executive members the opportunity to highlight some of the challenges confronting the association.
This is something that we want to bring everyone on board. We want to continue this kind of series to try to bring people to see that SJAs belong all of us. When you talk about SJAs, it's all of us. Because if you call yourself as a sport journalist in this country, I think you should be able to be part of SJAG.
But despite the many challenges, members commended the executive for managing the affairs of the association while urging them to improve on building the capacities of the association's teeming mass of young reporters.
I feel very proud joining millions of sports journalists to celebrate this great day. I think Gambia or the SJG, the parent body, for journalists or sport journalists in this country, they're doing the right thing. I think this is a step in the right direction, calling sport writers or reporters to converge, share our ideas, put them on the table, let them, we hear from the executives and, they too hear from the members, what we feel and what we're going through, maybe, going for match coverage. I think that is very good.
Number one priority for me is to conduct and organize more serious technical or clinic trainings for the younger ones, particularly because we are going to handle the association and we will be leading the media come in the next few years. So I think that is what should be put first, and also that is to build our capacity, and also we should try to always jealously learn from our senior sport journalists.
This was celebrating the International Sports Journalist Day, especially putting into consideration the enormous contributions of the country's sports writers and broadcasters in the promotion of Gambian sports over the years. Modest Jalo, GRS Sports.
From local sports, we now focus our attention to international events. Swiss officials have arrested and detained 2 high-ranking FIFA officials for allegedly taking part in a scheme of programs connected to bribery and corruption.
Replay of the raid in May that launched the FIFA corruption scandal. Swiss police waited outside the hotel of the 2 FIFA vice presidents at the center of the latest scandal. Alfredo Havit of Honduras, seen on the left, is the head of North and Central American football, CONCACAF. His counterpart in South America, Juan Angel Napu, has also been arrested. In a statement, Swiss authorities explained why the 2 high-ranking officials were the target of a pre-dawn raid.
U.S. authorities suspect the 2 arrested people of bribery, of having accepted millions for marketing rights for football tournaments in Latin America and World Cup qualification matches.
The hotel shut its gates, but FIFA's executive committee, those not affected by the arrests, continued a 2-day meeting meant to debate major reforms amid a major corruption scandal.
And before we take leave of you, a recap of the day's main stories. President Jammeh Babili Mansa has announced plans to ensure free education in all levels of academia by 2018 and laid plans to build a state-of-the-art 777-bed hospital in the Bundunka Kunda community. First Lady Madam Zainab Jammeh has made a modest appearance at a school to support the students as part of events marking World Disability Day. Sabre rattling in action. Russian President Vladimir Putin has vowed to make Turkey regret for the recent downing of a Russian jet over Syria-Turkey airspace. And from the frying pan to the fire, a court in South Africa has overturned Oscar Pistorius' verdict and upgraded the severity of the original punishment rather. Well, that was all in this edition of the News at 10. Thanks for the pleasure of your company. Do stay with GRTS and enjoy the rest of our interesting programs.